Alrighty, I believe we are now live. Hello everyone, I'm Chaz, aka Stochastic, and we're here with the first Earthbound Super Series Ancient Cave Tournament Elimination Bracket. Today's race between tsjonte, aka Thomas, and ClassicJames. Looking forward to a good race. Some volume on this looking. Am I audible to anyone? Ari will be joining me on commentary here. He'll be arriving shortly. Excellent. And then we'll let the racers know they are ready to kick it off. In case you're not familiar with Ancient Cave, all of the doors in Earthbound have been completely remixed into 9 different floors with remixed enemies on each of them as well. The goal of the racers is to get all the way from floor 1 to floor 9, possibly skipping some floors along the way if they find some skips, defeating the sanctuary bosses they can't skip past, and at the end of floor 9, finding and defeating Gygus. Should take somewhere between an hour and 2 hours on average. We'll see how each of these runners do. Ari, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I think we are ready to let our racers get underway. Are you in the SRL channel by any chance?
I am.
Okay. If you go ahead and let him know, and we'll kick things off. So as soon as the SRL timer begins, we'll see our racers start off. They start off with all 4 characters. They start in Ness's room, but immediately after exiting there, they'll be somewhere completely wild. And they'll be getting...
we're starting.
All right, here we go. We'll be trying to keep track of the floors that they're on as they progress. Oh, that's pretty close to synced up. All right, so right away we see the what many people say is the best room in the game, the Dr. Andon's lab room. Yeah, unfortunate to see that so early on floor 1. But we're going through the theater the correct way, so we won't have to see the show unless there's backtracking involved, which didn't see if we've actually taken any split paths or not, see if backtracking's actually going to happen.
Even if you had to backtrack at this point, you're better off just resetting.
Yeah, just reset. The rules are glitchless rules, except that hard resets are allowed.
Ooh, James has no interest in that Casey bet.
Yeah, that's one of the more recent changes. I did some adjusting of the logic as far as some gifts that you can't normally buy and don't have good prices, kind of adjusting them to fit better in the cave. But as a result, the KC bat does have a price, it has a very low price, so it appears very early on. And if you're wondering, well, can't they just equip it and get auto wins? No, it's a balance issue. I made it so you cannot get auto wins if you're wielding the KC bat. So
Tsjonte will take it though, so we'll see how this works out between the two of them.
yeah, Thomas is definitely a person who will use the KC bat. I know that. So a little bit of background. Thomas is a longtime friend of mine. He's been my playtester basically since I started developing the randomizer. He is not a speedrunner. He does not have an Earthbound speedrunning background. Of course, ClassicJames is a longtime Earthbound speedrunner, one of the old guard, along with you, Ari, right?
Yeah, I guess at this point you can say that.
Well, I mean, for me anyway. Johnny come lately here.
I don't know. There are always guys that came before you, so to you, it never really feels like you're part of that old guard.
I see.
Except Skateman, maybe. He's like the OG runner. He probably knows somebody that started before him, though.
So Thomas has a fair bit of randomizer experience and knowing the ins and outs of it, but not much Earthbound speedrunning experience in general. Meanwhile, ClassicJames, obviously, lots of Earthbound speedrunning experience, but I think probably of the 9 people in our bracket, he's probably done the least amount of Ancient Caves.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think the big difference you can really see between the two runners, and you probably see it throughout most of the run, James moves very quickly through the battle menus. He knows right where everything is. Thomas is a little more deliberate in what he's doing, but I think he actually makes slightly better decisions. Because there's a whole lot of enemies that hopefully you never ever fight in an Earthbound, glitchless, or any percent, or photo percent, or really any of the or like best case, I don't want to be in this fight, and you just run away.
Right. But you'll be encountering a much wider variety of the enemies and rooms and presents and items in Earthbound in the randomizer than you will in any speedrun playthrough. Everyone's still in floor 1. We haven't found a skip, and we haven't found the Guardian yet. Carrot key for James. That could open up a potential skip if we see Dalam. That's a lot of protoplasms, but I believe he has picked up fire by now, right? Oh, but he's not going to go with fire, so I think this is one of the things that you were talking about. If he has learned Fire Alpha, then Fire Alpha would be a lot quicker way out of this battle.
Yeah, I was thinking as soon as he opened the PSI menu, I thought he had changed his mind, but it looks like he's going for the fire, unless you have just incredibly awful luck with their hit points. Fire is going to kill each of them for sure.
Yeah, and we see on the other side, Thomas gets this exact same battle, fires off of fire, and he's out of it instantly, while James is still working on these enemies.
Yeah, worthless protoplasm, kind of like in the Earthbound glitchless speedrun, actually, is kind of a tough enemy to fight in the first floor of the ancient cave because he actually has a lot of defense, and a lot of times you're looking at no offense items on anybody but Ness.
Right, unless you get a lucky item, a lucky weapon clicking on someone, this is probably your only person doing any damage. But James does find Sanctuary boss for floor 1 first, and it's another Pogo Punk.
Is that the easiest boss in the entire list? I don't think I've ever seen him as the floor one boss.
He's one of the easiest. I can check the list for you in a bit. That'll move James onto floor 2. I don't think Thomas skipped floor 2 when I wasn't looking, did he?
No, I believe he's still on floor one.
Alright. I didn't see where exactly that shiny spot led from. Oh, I believe it was up this ladder, so he is on his way. So James with a little bit of a lead. And he encounters the Brick Road Maze Room. Lots of presents here, but also lots of time. The way that gifts work in Ancient Cave is that a selection of equipment has been distributed throughout the cave, and also the gifts that aren't filled up with equipment are filled up with other general items. And they generally get stronger the deeper you go, although they are slightly shuffled, so it's not guaranteed that deeper will be better 100% of the time. It's just in a general, the general trend goes upwards. Although floor 2 is about the time that you might find the first possible Franklin badge.
Yeah, floor two at least, you usually find some offense items for most of the kids. You can find a Franklin badge if you're lucky. I personally usually don't really start digging around for presents until about floor three or floor four. But if they're close by, I'll grab them.
So the way that Franklin badges, which are of course important for beating Gygus, not necessary, but certainly helpful, and also some other difficult late game enemies. The way the Franklin badges work is 2 of them are put into the equipment pool, one about 30% of the way in, and one about 70% of the way in. And then the entire equipment pool is subjected to a random chance for each item getting used, and the odds work out to about 60-65% for each item. So you may have 0, 1, or 2 Franklin badges in chests. Plus, if the Paula's shack is in the maze, then you can get another Franklin badge there. Thomas encountered the Sentry Robot, which as a scripted enemy is not subject to the enemy difficulty progression. It's as difficult as it always is, which can be pretty difficult when you run into it right on floor 2. You theoretically, if the code is correct, won't run into them on floor 1, but you can run into them on floor 2, and they can be pretty difficult. I believe he used his big bottle rocket that Jeff starts with to take that out.
Big bottle rocket and freeze. Yeah, he was in some trouble there, but he had a pretty good strat to deal with it. Your best hope if you run into that is to use the freezes if you've got enough psychic points to have any hope of doing enough damage, a couple hundred hit points. Use your big bottle rocket if you have it, and if you don't, then your best strat is just to have Pooh mirror, and then hope that Pooh shoots bottle rockets as the Sentry Robot back at the Sentry Robot.
Speaking of strategies that you'll encounter in Ancient Cave and not in other ends, mirror strats.
You can use it on Kraken too. That's about the only other time I can really think of it really being useful.
James takes a save at the end of Brick Road's maze. Oh, and there's the exit to Brick Road. Is this even random?
Yeah, if you didn't know, the sprite that hangs out outside of Brick Road, a lot of glitchless speedrunners seem to not know this. If you talk to Brick Road or whoever his lookalike is out there, it counts as sleeping in, and so you'll get all your hit points and psychic points back. But he won't raise anyone from the dead. He won't cure your status effects.
Yes, knowing all the various heals and their peculiarities can definitely pay off doing Ancient Cave runs.
Hawkeye swag.
You never know. I mean, technically it's impossible to get to Deep Darkness and Randomizer, but you never know.
Hey, get out of bounds there.
Yep.
If you really want it, you can get there.
If you find Tinda Village, so to activate the Tinda Village teleport and get lucky that teleports haven't been turned off, you teleport, and that would end you up. James finds the floor to Sanctuary. Good to know where the full heal is. I'm not sure he actually needed it, but took it.
Doesn't hurt just to top off your psychic points either, because you never really know when you're going to find the next one.
That's true. And especially on these early floors, Freeze is carrying you. Somewhat overpowered.
Fair and balanced. Good work, James. Let the chicken run free on the bridge to Foreside.
Gotta free him. What sort of monster would hold on to a chicken? The Stalker of Death.
It's a long way from unassuming local guy.
Yeah. We'll occasionally get really good names out of the name. Sir. Little pew sound you just heard there from Thomas is another quality of life improvement we added. As soon as you get an item, either from a chest or from a battle, or from a store for that matter, you can then hit R and it will throw away the item automatically without bringing up a menu or anything. Speeds things up a lot. Robo-Pump for our floor boss.
As long as you've got freezes, you're good against the robot. Or sorry, the robo. If you don't, he starts hurling bombs, and the damage adds up very fast.
And that'll put James on to floor 3. And Thomas has just found the shiny spot as well, so he won't be far behind. Thomas showing a somewhat new feature of the randomizer. This room in particular, the shiny spot room where Electrospectre normally hangs out, has been somewhat broken throughout the history of randomizer. But I have recently fixed it, so it works in a more Euclidean fashion than it used to. So the two different holes on the right side are both lead to two different places.
This is another one of those scripted enemies that Thomas just finished fighting. If the hieroglyphs come off the wall to attack you, they're just like they would normally be in any other part of the rando. They aren't scaled to the area, so they can be really tough if you find them early on. They're susceptible to hypnosis usually, so running away is pretty easy if you need to. But if you're going to sit there and fight it, it can be a tough fight.
A tough fight, but also can give you more experience than you would expect for the area as well. Not that since he did fight the sentry robot, he didn't need it, as it's I would say the second out of order enemy you take isn't nearly as good for you as the first one is. And Thomas on to floor 3. So James here, looking into a monkey cave for a skip. That's what we were talking about with skips, if you're not familiar. The monkey caves are the best examples where there's an NPC in your way, and if you do something to move them out of your way, either giving them an item or purchasing a show ticket, or even coming in from the back of the auditorium and just telling them to move out of the way for free, or erasing one of the statues, any of those things, through that door is a different floor than the one you were on currently. It's at least 2 floors away, up to 5 floors away. And you can skip forward a number of floors, and that's key to getting good times, getting past difficult bosses, and generally making your overall speed a lot faster. But we have not seen any skips anyone has been even able to take so far. Yes, chat. There is logic that you are not supposed to encounter scripted enemies until floor 2. It may or may not work in all cases. If there are any cases where it's not working, please let me know. But that is the intent. I believe James has just taken a skip into 3.
Nice big door hub. It has some presence actually, so it can give you a really good idea of where you're at very quickly. But he didn't pick up any of those presents and just ran right into the next door. So I'm not really sure what to think right now. Platinum band usually means it's deep floor. What? Probably 6 or 7, I would say. Possibly later.
Yeah, we know it's definitely not a skip back from 3 to 1, that's for sure. So it's at least 5.
Nothing too game breaking here at the stand that you can steal stuff for free. You could load up on the fry pans and sell them for some cash, but other than that,
Right, the stores are randomized, and that includes this free store. So whenever you get to Happy Village, you definitely want to check this free store. Some runs will have multi-bottle rockets here, some runs will have Horns of Life here, and some runs will have picture postcards.
multi-bottle rockets, the best find I've ever had there. I'm waiting for Super Bomb.
Kraken Soup, a high-value item, definitely continuing our theory that we've gone fairly deep here. Probably beyond just 5. Looks like Thomas found that same skip. I didn't see what the item was. I think he might not have it, or he just chose not to take it.
Metornium means 8 or 9, I thought.
Metornium, you're
But
going
I
to be pretty
guess
far up there.
you can only skip 5 floors, right? So it must be 8.
Yes, 5 is the maximum.
Starman would also make me think 8 or 9, so it's got to be 8. Starman is excuse me. Starman is a intimidating enemy, but he's actually not that bad at all. You can just throw a couple freeze betas and he'll give you a ton of experience. He's like the enemy to find when you are skipping late into the cave and trying to get experience.
That's true. Although, part of the problem with randomizer is you're not always sure whether the Starman you've got is a Starman or a worse Starman, because the palettes and names have been randomized. So it could be a Starman Super, a Ghost of Starman.
Even Starman Super is not too bad, and you're gonna know right away if you accidentally found a ghost of Starman.
Well, yeah, you'll know that first turn when he unleashes on you. Thomas finds the eraser statue, but no eraser. So back he goes, still on floor 3.
If James lucks out on finding some decent items somewhere on this floor or the next floor, if the floor 8 boss is easy, then he could have a really solid run here.
Oh yeah, this is definitely potential for some good speed. The main thing that holds you back when you do skips is lacking equipment to face Gygus. Mainly C and star pendants are what you really want to find. The way the equipment pool works, for equipment that anyone could wear, 3 of those items are put into the pool. So 3 C pendants and 3 star pendants are put into the pool. They'll naturally end up on generally high-level floors. I think the lowest I've ever seen one is 6, I think. Maybe 1 on 5, but generally you're going to find them on either 7 or more likely 8 and 9. So if you can find them, if they exist, then a skip can really get you going fast. If you can't find them, then you can be in a world of hurt just trying to wander around and stay alive on these high-level floors. Thomas talking to Mom and Magicant. This is a full heal. It will revive dead party members. Good to know, in case you're not familiar with that.
And James talking to the pizza guy, you can actually go to a phone. You can order Large pizzas are awesome. They do the equivalent of Life Up Omega, which means all party members are going to heal about 300 to 400 hit points of damage, except for Pooh, who hates pizza and is therefore a monster and only heals 6.
Come on, Pooh. What are you doing?
But yeah, it's like what, $297, I think, for one. Normally you would have to wait 3 minutes for the dude to show up. However, you can kind of cheese that timer. If you just save at the phone, save your game, reset the console, and reboot, that dude will show up in just a couple seconds.
Which might be a good idea because you don't know what room you're going to end up in, and you may end up in a room in which the pizza guy cannot arrive by the time the 3-minute timer is up. So even though you're like, oh, well, it'll take me extra time to reset, you probably want to do it anyway.
James trying to stutter away from the Buka and the Scorpion. It's actually really hard to stutter there. Stuttering in general is not that hard, especially for glitchless runners. I mean, we've all done it a million times. However, in Peaceful Rest Valley, or sorry, Happy Happy Village, although really either is true, there's so much lag on the screen that it makes it extremely difficult to pull off. No boom, cause sorry. Yeah, when did that happen? When did you start randomizing enemy death actions?
That was fairly recent. There's a low percent chance, I believe it's 1%, that an enemy can explode upon death if it doesn't normally. Or not explode upon death if it does normally. So maybe your tree won't explode. Or maybe your Buka will.
Is it just enemies or is it bosses as well?
I
ask only because bosses with death actions do weird stuff to the game. Ask me how I know.
It doesn't replace any existing death action. So if a boss has an existing death action, it can't be replaced. So you never have to worry about Master Barf exploding.
Outstanding.
James, wandering around somewhere on what we guess is floor 8, if he can find a hint man, one of the real hint man, 6 locations in which an actual hitman is, not a sprite that's had the hitman graphic replaced by it, then the hitman will tell you what floor you're on as well as all of the upcoming bosses you'll have to face. I haven't seen any of the zones in which the hitman lives yet.
Remarkably, James finally just now lost his titty.
Lost Pooh first at a fairly high level, using the beginning teddy bear. Trudging through the sewers to find a dead end is always the worst feeling.
Looks like you remembered to keep the exit mouse as a mark, though, so you don't lose nearly as much time if you don't have to trudge the whole way back as well.
Yep.
As long as that's available to you. I mean, sometimes you've already used your exit mouse and you're just stuck.
Definitely something to keep in mind in case you come across one of those large sewer rooms.
Oh, look at that. That's maybe jackpot.
Shiny coin, lucky
There's
coin.
a star pendant.
Cup of noodles, star pendant. Which we're going to move around before we check out what's in the rest of the presents here in Hype Cave.
Goddess ribbon, that's worthwhile. HP Sucker's actually okay, and the Brain Food Lunch is a pretty solid item as well.
So as far as I guess equipment, I believe that James is still just at the 1-star pendant, and that is it.
That'd be a really scary Gygus fight, but not impossible. It would, at least if it were me anyway, be enough to go take a look and see what the floor 8 boss is.
26% chance that it could be our friend Carbon Dog and Diamond Dog.
I think the empirical odds are about 80%.
I ran 100,000 permutations. And it's about 26% for any enemy more difficult than Carpainter, I believe, to show up.
Hey, alright, Thomas has got a burger for this monkey, so we're gonna see where this goes. This was the skip that James managed to take earlier? No,
I
not
don't
quite.
think so. I believe we saw that skip. Thomas wasn't able to take it. Yeah, I don't believe James has been. No, I don't think he's been to Dungeon Man. First floor. Oh, that is a terrible globe background and palette.
Yep. Now, Thomas looks like it's probably floor 5 if I had to guess. But we could go for the second skip. He's thinking about it. Always going for it. If that is the orb that shows up like around the horseshoe area, then I guess that would be about 7.
Show ticket for Thomas. We're skipping again.
That's a really lucky ball. So that does look like the correct ball. So that looks like Thomas is on floor 7 or so, and apparently this ball has fewer than 12 psychic points, so it can't use fire bait. Thomas can't win this fight, and he kind of needs to just run away, but looks like he's gonna try to stick it out anyway.
Shroom is our floor 8 boss.
Shroom can actually be kind of a jerk, especially if you get unlucky, but...
Yeah, that freeze did 18 damage. That's not gonna get you there, Thomas. Oh, that takes him down alone. Oh, there's that HP sucker being used. It did not work, sadly.
Yeah, I believe it compares against the enemy's luck. Shroom's luck, I think, is low enough to actually work, unless it got randomized. But yeah, it does a percentage of an enemy's hit points and damage, and then heals Jeff for whatever amount that it... So if you use it against a boss like this, or Electro Spectre, you can actually do a ton of damage really fast if you get lucky.
Yeah, well. And Shroom down. I'll move James on to floor 9.
Thomas found a hospital at least, so he can get his party back and keep trucking on floor 7, is what I'm guessing still.
Oh, Tessie's little mushroom. So James making his way through floor 9, hoping to find Gygus and also hoping to find a couple more seeded Sar Pendants before Gygus. Thomas hoping to just delve deeper.
Yeah, James really either needs to find another C or Star Pendant or Franklin Bear. If he found any of those, he'd be pretty much set.
Diadem of Kings over on the side. That's what generally suggests we're higher than floor 5.
The diadem's actually a really good find. Counts as an Earth Pendant, basically, as far as resistances. Only works for Pooh, but Pooh has the ability to heal, so that works just fine.
Meanwhile, Cloak of Kings over on ClassicJames' side. I believe, is it?
Yep, there we are. Guess it's floor 9 after all.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Surprise. Yeah,
That sure
you
is
may want to
floor
find some
9.
more stuff over there.
All right, well, Thomas has located Gygus, and he has an Earth Pendant on Pooh. That is probably not going to get the job done. I didn't see what happened on James' side such that he's resetting. I would also be a little confused if I was in Thomas's shoes and saw Gygus right now.
Well, I mean, it's good. It's very valuable information to have. You're just going to have to turn around and gear. Maybe gets a couple more levels, too. He may not even have PSI Shield, Sigma, and Paula yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. James going to hypnosis away this hieroglyph. Thomas runs right back into this battle. It's not an easy battle for grinding.
Yeah, especially with the Spectre in the back having above average hit points. It's one of the nastiest enemies to fight, especially if you have no gear.
So both of our runners on floor 9, and both of them probably need more equipment. Thomas knows where Gygus is, and James does not. But James does have the 1-star pendant.
And I think James has more experience, as in character experience. There's a heavy bazooka for James. That's very good for phase 1 of Gygus. Phase 2, if he finds some plethora of pendants somewhere and can keep Jeff alive.
And it's going to be good for just navigating floor 9.
James passing up the present way, way, way far to the right in that Starman base room, though.
I don't know about passing up any presents on floor 9.
Definitely not when you know you need stuff. There's a full heal, at least.
Mushroom above Tessie.
Yeah, Thomas definitely needs more experience on Paula. At least, I would say, probably 5 more levels. Give or take. I mean, Rando makes it a little bit random when you learn PSI abilities too, right?
Yes, it does. By a couple levels. Both of our runners on floor 9 by 30 minutes in. This is going to be a fast one, it looks like. Heavy bazooka for Thomas. Didn't quite get it to Jeff in time before this enemy approached.
Yeah, best and only real option here is just try to run away. This is a real nasty fight. This is in my top 5 of worst fights in the game.
Well, good job, Jeff. Give him what for.
Ooh, ho, ho. That's a muscle memory dropping the heavy bazooka.
Oh no. We're gonna reset?
It looks like he's trying to decide if he should reset. And I honestly couldn't tell you. I could go with either.
I mean, I don't think he's accomplished very much since his last reset, has he?
Other than finding that heavy bazooka.
Yeah, and there he goes.
Just
Goes
a
for the
little
reset.
bit of experience.
Yeah, I have seen almost everyone who does Earthbound runs, especially Ancient Cave runs, do that at one point or another. But James heading back down, I guess that was all a dead end up there.
There's a little bit of luck finally trying to run away from something that the game gives it to him.
James heading this way, which is the direction we know Thomas came from, so he's going to get to Gygus, but If I
James could choose to try to fight Gygas. It would be a really tough fight, and there's a lot of luck involved, but it's not impossible. But what this is telling me is that Thomas is going to have to backtrack off of floor 9 to find a pendant.
Well, he is certainly going backwards. He's backed out of his skip. I don't think he went and re-got the heavy bazooka before he did it.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, he probably doesn't have the meta knowledge that we have that he's not going to find a pendant on 9, but as it turns out, that's probably the right play for him, right?
Plant 2.0.
Although the kid's stats are good enough, you could, if you really uh, really wanted to try to get in there without any equipment, you could just leave the Dedum on Pooh, get a ton of experience on him, and then have him resurrect Paula as needed. That'd be a heck of a thing to try, but you could.
That's quite an Ari strat you've come up with there.
It works as long as Pooh's got over, what did I say, 400 hit points, and I would say about over 200 psychic points, or a good way to replenish psychic points.
James comes to Gygas without having found any more relevant equipment along the way. So will he give it a try?
He's seriously considering it. He's got to bop Nurm's time for fastest seed, after all.
And as we said, there's no guarantee there's more equipment anywhere. It could be that that 1-star pendant is the only C-star or Earth pendant in the entire maze. It's not likely, but it's possible.
Oh, does the Earth Pendant shop not always show up?
I don't believe... Well, I would have to look into that. I actually think it does.
Because I think I've seen it almost every time, and usually it's just way too early to be useful.
Right, it could be anywhere.
Yay! He even has a diamond. Look at that. 5 grand's a good deal. Good thing you can only sell that for $49.99.
All right, well, this will be one of our fastest times ever if James can pull it off.
A lot of luck involved. Okay, the alpha does not kill Pooh. That was a possibility. No paralysis. That's always bad. So somebody's going to get hit for lethal damage here.
He gamble on who to heal, or just let it happen.
He's just going to find out, and it's Ness. That will probably hurt here long term.
He does have, I think, 2 resurrection items, a Horn of Life. At least a Horn of Life.
It's real tough to try to squeeze those in now, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because Gygas is just going to keep doing damage every round, and you don't have the hit points to tank even one of these attacks.
Phase 1 is not where you want to do it. Thankfully, with Jeff having the heavy bazooka, you know that you will get out of Phase 1 on a reasonable enough time scale.
This time gambling on the life up. And it was a very good choice, because if Pokey at Paula, she was not going to live through this cut.
And we're on to Phase 2.
So here's where the luck really begins. It's very dependent on Gygas not using Thunder. He has no real protection from that. Pooh's running low on psychic points. I think he still has 1 Brain Food Lunch lurking in someone's inventory.
Brain Food Lunch and a bottle of water, I believe. The old brain shock on Gygas, a lot of people may not know this. Gygas Phases 2 and 3 100% susceptible to brain shock, at least normally. And that will make half of his attacks not come at you, so it's a very good idea to do it if you're not going to be bashing Gygas. And there's that Thunder that ends up hitting Gygas instead of one of the kids. So already paying off. Meanwhile, Thomas is fighting these swarms of enemies on whatever floor he is. hit stats are so low, they are just taking him out. That was a fast phase 2.
Yeah, nothing ever killed Jeff, so he can just keep using the heavy position.
I don't know who that brain food lunch is on.
I don't know if James knows who's that brain food lunch is on. He might have forgotten about
Who has
it. There's the other
two,
brain shock.
which you don't want to do on turn 1 of phase 3. You want to do it on turn 2. Turn 2.
Yeah, you can kind of think of that first turn of what we as the speedrunning community normally call phase 3. It's kind of more of a phase 2.5, and if you put status effects on him during that little weird phase, he'll get rid of them for the next one.
And switch our audio over to James at this point. So, two lightnings on Paula will kill her, basically, at this point. I don't think it would be possible to get off the heel in time without knowing where it is, for one thing.
Unless Paula outsped Gygas or something, yeah, there's no way. Thomas getting some XP off of a mole, that's always a good choice if it's available to you. 2 freeze betas will almost always kill one of those moles.
Which means I believe he's back on floor 9. I believe that that room was on floor 9, if I remember correctly. Yeah, those look like floor 9 enemies.
Spared from another thunder from using the brain shot.
Dodged every thunder so far. This would be the fastest time I've ever seen a Ancient Cave rando completed in, by a fair bit.
Well, that beats Nerm by what? It'll be about a little over a minute and a half, if this still works out. There's still.
Nerm was 48, wasn't he?
Oh, was it 48? I thought it was like 44. He's pretty much safe now, though.
Yep. This will be...
Yep, 4305.
amazing.
I know a split say 4303. It's like 4305.
That is astounding. 43 minutes. Just for the record, since the change to the skip logic, before Nerm's 48, I don't think anyone else had gotten under 105?
Yeah, that's about right.
So this is an absolutely amazing time. Found a skipped floor 9, took it, or floor 8 rather, took it, found the 1-star pendant, did an impressive Gygas fight, did all the right strats to get lucky, and then got lucky. And James will take our first win here in the Earthbound Super Series Ancient Cave Tournament. Which means he will be moving on to fight you next.
Yeah, I'll just have to take world record back.
Intimidated at all by this 43-minute time?
Nah, it's rando.
Alright, and I can't tell if Thomas is going to...
Yeah, he just forfeit in the SRL. I don't think he's going to finish it out.
Okay. Well, we will hang out here to watch James's credits to see the statistics roll in. But I was not expecting to be done this fast, that's for sure. Or against Gygus is over. Little Proto Man Dead Robot sprite there. Fantastic. What a performance. I think James has definitely gotten comfortable enough with things that are different with Randomizer that his experience in Earthbound in general is just ready to pay off dividends. He did come in seeded ninth, so some of those early races he did was picking up the rando experience, but I think his play now is going to not look like a ninth seeded person at all from here on out.
He has the least door transitions I've ever seen, so that was, you can definitely, it was a very optimal path through the cave. It was lucky.
Mm-hmm.
He played it well, and he also got lucky too. I mean, by those powers combined.
Yep, that's exactly what you want in rando. One chicken freed, so we are humane, and single digit L button, no problem here, so we are valid. This will not be the only Earthbound Super Series Ancient Cave race today at 9 p.m. Eastern, so in about 2.5 hours. We'll be having our next match, which is between Nerm and Stupid Sexy Flanders, I believe.
I'd have to take a look, but I think that's right.
All right, so that'll be coming up a little later tonight.
No, James, I would not have sub 30'd this.
Well, I think that's going to do it for our stream for now. Like I said, come back in about 2.5 hours to see the next race in the series. And this is a double elimination tournament, so Thomas is not out of it yet. He'll move on to the loser's bracket and have his chance to come back. Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. This is double elimination. Just losing once isn't enough to kick you out.
Thomas, making sure to free the chicken before we end the stream. Very important. Alrighty, so that's all we got, unless you have anything else you want to say, Ari?
No, come back in a couple hours.
Alrighty, we'll see y'all later. Have a good evening.